6. My email as well is mfd-fes2-cr@milwaukee.gov. Feel free to reach out to me. I've got a couple cards left. I was giving a lot of cards out today, and we can maybe set something up and see what we can offer you guys.
Welcome. Carlos here a couple months ago, right?
I do know.
Yeah. And he was very good also. So welcome to your new job, and hopefully we'll get you up here real soon again.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get going with our meeting. We're going to do some crime stats. Obviously, with the warm weather, crime is on the rise again, unfortunately. So we're doing our best. This hard meeting is going to hopefully help us big. Every district in the city is short right now, officers, but we're working at it. And, our officers are doing a great job out there. We got our crime stats for the month. Don't mind the guy right in the corner there. So, district number 2, our crime stats year to date, we've had 3 homicides in district number 2 compared to 1 last year. So our homicide rate is up. Our robbery rate is down. We had 58 in 2021 compared to 42 this year. Our non-fatal shootings are also up. We had 11 last year to 16 this year. We haven't had no shootings recently, but we did have a couple where multiple people were shot at the same location. So it's, that was a bad couple weeks that we had. Our burglary rate is also down. We had 46, up. We had 46 in 2021. We have 55 now. Our rate is down. We had 12 in 2021 and 8 now. And our auto thefts are skyrocketing. We have 238 autos taken in district number 2 already this year. And they're going up citywide. So we're still working on that. This is another map that kind of shows the whole city. It breaks down where all the shootings are. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see up there, but we're the ones that are highlighted. And it's still with the homicide rate and the non-fatal shooting rate that we had on the last slide. This map kind of depicts the city. This here is going to be our south side district 2 and district 6 on the bottom. Here's our numbers for February. So in February we did 160 traffic stops. It's actually going up. We're starting to do a lot more traffic. We're trying to really get a handle on this reckless driving. That's our biggest complaint in the district, is reckless driving. We know that now it's going to be that season where famed ATVs and little motorbikes are out on the south side. We're working with the DNR on that, and hopefully got a plan in place once they'll start. And we're going to start there. We'll hopefully get those off the street before they get going. Our field interviews, we did 25. That's basically walking up and talking to somebody and interviewing them on the street. No action encounters, we did 2. Our pat-down searches, we completed 1. Our actual search of a person, we did 13. And our pat-down with the search, we did 10 this month. Those numbers are on the rise, but it's getting busier out there. We're going to be out there more. We're going to be doing more stuff. We do have a video here, but it looks like it's not going to play. But this is just our secure your autos in your car. There's still having a huge problem with guns being taken out of cars. It's mainly happening near our taverns and restaurants. As you know, you don't go into the tavern or restaurant with a gun, so a lot of people leave them in their cars. And these young kids are hitting these cars. You seem to be picking the right ones every time we get the gun out of it. I'm not sure how many guns we've had stolen this year, but last year we had over 100 guns stolen in district number 2 alone out of cars. So we do have free gun locks at district number 2 station. You come in and get one. It's not going to help if you from getting stolen, but it'll help hopefully that you won't be able to use it. Our steering wheel locks. So we were offering these free at our district station. We are completely out of them right now. The whole city is completely out of them. I'm not sure the number, but I heard it was over 10,000 locks were given out in the city over the year. So we don't know if we're going to be getting any more in, but what we do suggest, if you do own a Hyundai or Kia, go to any of your auto parts stores and buy a club. They're pretty inexpensive, but they definitely do work. We're finding out that now that they can be disabled, but it takes these guys a long time to disable them, so they would rather move on to the next car. So a lot of times when they look in the car, they'll see that club on there, they won't even bother breaking the window or trying to open the door to get in the car. They just move on right to the next car. But once we do get some more in, we'll definitely broadcast here our crowd safety. There's the gun locks again. We do have those. Stopping at the district station. If you know if you have a gun or if you know somebody that has a gun, it's very good to keep those guns safe.
Do they cost us anything?
What's that?
Do they cost us anything or we get them for free?
Completely free.
Nice.
Yep. So, and it's very good to have that gun locked, especially if you got children in the house. We all know that video games are getting kind of crazy, and these kids are playing with Nerf guns that look like real guns, and all kinds of guns. So they get their hands on one of these guns, think it's unloaded, and shoot it, and then it turns tragic. So it's very important to put a gun lock in your gun. These are just a couple of announcements. We do have a KK River Neighbors in Action Chili Cook-Off. It's going to be March 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Blossom Park Pool Pavilion. It sounds like we've got 5 chilies entered in so far. Looks like we're trying to get between 8 and 10 in there. So when you guys cook chili or anybody knows somebody that cooks some good chili, let's enter it. Travis, that's sitting at the front door, is running this. And it's a great event. We're going to be there. We're going to be trying chili and hopefully get you a judge. But there's awards for the first, second, and third place. And I know last year I was told they had all different kinds of chili, chicken chili, vegan chilies, vegetarian chilies. It sounded pretty interesting, so it's going to be a good time. That's coming up here in a week or so. We also have the Easter egg event, and it's going to be hosted at 2600 West Chase at Barron Park. Is that correct? Or do we know that? Barron Park. And that's Barron Park. It's directly behind District Number 2 station. So you can enter it off at Chase Street. There's a nice big parking lot there. It's going to be for our children. The Clark Square parents and friends are sponsoring as well as Safe and Sound. It's going to be a great event. Cupcake lady's going to be bringing cupcakes. She's helping us out donate some eggs and candy, so there's some good cupcakes there also. And that's, I don't think I told you the date, but that's April 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And these are just some of our tools and apps. Ring doorbells, I'm not sure who has them, but they're definitely a great tool, and they're very good for us. They activate only when somebody walks by your house or up by your house. This next door app, I think there's another one called Neighborhood, or they're apps that you can either get email or you can go on the app, and it kind of talks about crime that happens in the area. And it's from you guys. Whoever's on that app can post anything. I've seen things on there as like there's a coyote sighting in a park, somebody's muffler's getting stolen from here. There's a lot of different stuff on there. It's very informative. They talk about restaurants and stuff that are new to the neighborhood that are good. So it's definitely something to get involved in. And then our Facebook page, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Ellie and Clifford are doing an awesome job. They're posting stuff on there all the time. They got videos on there all the time. I think you guys just posted in one today, right? So, I'm not sure who all came to our coffee with the cop, but it was a very, very, very good event. We had over 110 people maybe show up. It turned out to a very good event. It ended with Clifford dancing again. We'll make them do something again here, maybe, right? Start dancing again? No? So definitely join our page. I think we got almost 4,000 viewers now, or likes. So just keep plugging away. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Everybody get on the page. It's pretty informative. So we got things about crime stats and crime prevention and everything on the page. Anybody got any questions or concerns about me? And if so, you can always write them down in a card and they'll give them to me and I can answer them after also. But this week we're doing something a little bit interesting. First we'll do this. So our next scheduled meeting is April 20th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. It's going to be on Mitchell Street.
The Ignacy Indian Health Center.
The Ignacy Indian Health Center. So we're going to do 3 meetings. Our next 3 meetings will be on Mitchell Street. We're not sure the location of all of them, but the first one will be at the Health Center. So it'll be 6 o'clock on the 20th. Please, I know some of the guys are new here to the meetings here at God Touch. But if you want to take a walk over to Mitchell or come over to Mitchell, or if you want us to come pick you up, we'll come pick you up. But please keep coming to the meetings. These meetings are great. And, it's great to have a good turnout like this kind of thing. So tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We've got a group of officers here, some great officers in fact, and some of them started working very early this morning with me. What 5 a.m. we started? So they're a little tired, but they're doing a great job. And we're gonna have a little panel discussion with them. They're going to introduce themselves, tell you guys who they are. We're going to have a moderator here, and our moderator is going to ask them a series of questions. Those questions can be answered by whichever officer decides to answer them, I believe. And then afterwards, you guys will be able to ask the officers questions also. So it's going to be a great time. Do you have anything else to add, Clifford, regarding this?
If you do have questions, write them down, and we'll get the index cards, and I'll give them to the officers. So please,
Andrea?
don't be shy.
Andrea here in the middle? Andrea. She's going to collect the cards from you. So she'll have the cards, and if you guys have a card, just kind of hold it up, and she'll come and collect it for us and give it to us, and we'll get the questions answered after. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. My name is Raymond Rivera. I work at the United Community Center. I think I owe him some money, that's why he's clapping. Really, that's not on the list of the clap. So, my style is kind of your style. We're at home, we're in our living room, we're hanging out with some wonderful people. It's such an honor for me to be here. I facilitate a program called Life Changers. It's a program that's dedicated to promoting anti-drug, anti-violence strategies to youth and to young adults. We do a talk show setting where I interview former gangsters, drug dealers, drug users, prostitutes, as to how their lives changed from a negative to a positive. Very, very powerful program. One of the things, seeing Luis up here celebrating his birthday, many of you don't know his story, but he was an individual that was deceived at one time in his life and believed the lie that living the gangster lifestyle was what it was about, and had a total transformation in his life, you know, by the grace of God. And he is a walking, living testimony that these individuals that they come in contact with, there is hope. Amen. And that's where we come in and encouraging these people. Some of these people have been raped, abused, molested, beat down, abandoned. One of those or all of the above. Our job is to help them heal so we can make their job a little bit easier. Okay? So, Luis, thank you. It's an honor. You're a walking, living miracle. So I'll be asking a series of questions. I might jump in with, kind of going with the flow here. But again, if you do have questions, Andrea with the green coat back there, you can give them to her. And then when I ask a question, you don't all have to answer a question, but try to get straight to the point. And the first thing we'll start off with, if we can start off at the end, your name, where you are from, how long you've been an officer. Name, where you're from, how long you've been an officer, please.
Hello? Okay, thank you. My name is Tal Vu. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I call Milwaukee my home. Pretty much I've been with the department for 5 years.
My name is Edgardo Balzo Santiago. I was born in Puerto Rico, but I grew up here in Milwaukee. Went to South Division High School. I've been an officer for about 15 years.
Hi, I'm Dalian Mendez Santiago, no relation. I also grew up I was born in Puerto Rico, grew up on the south side of Milwaukee. I've been an officer for 5 years. I'm also your LGBTQ liaison officer.
Hello, I'm Officer Nelson, Mariolis Nelson, originally Flores. I was born in Los Angeles, California, and I've been with the department for about 8 years.
Hello, my name is Officer Iman Stewart. I'm from the north side of Milwaukee, lived here my whole life, and I've been an officer for a year and a half.
Everyone knows me, but Officer Eliel Contreras. I was born in Mexico, but been living in the United States, specifically south side of Milwaukee, since 3 years old. And I've been in the job for 13 years now.
How many of you know Ellie?
We don't know. We don't know him.
So, put your hands down. How many of you do not know Officer Ellie?
I don't believe it.
Everybody knows. All right. So, why did you decide to become a police officer? Start off with you, Kurt.
When I got out of high school, graduated from South, I didn't really have a sense of direction, so I knew if I stayed out here it would be a rough time, so I joined the military. When I got out of the military, it was the closest thing that I knew, and one of the reasons I joined the military was to help people, and I've always felt like I've been very protective. I was always very protective of my sister, and it just kind of went hand in hand with the military and just this type of person, I guess, personality that I have.
Someone else? Why did you decide?
So, I grew up on 13th and Rogers, and at that time it was just bad, gangs everywhere. My friends were being jumped. Parents always taught me that I needed to do more with my life. And so I wanted to join the military, I didn't join the military, and then I moved into becoming an officer, and I just did it.
Same question. Yep. I think I'd like to know that from all of you, at least this question. It's important.
So the reason why I became a police officer was because I've worked through different jobs, from tent services at different factories and things like that. So when the opening was available, I considered this job opportunity a challenge. So I wanted to show my children, no matter what you do, or, you know, like kind of push yourself. If I didn't get it, I didn't get it. But it was a challenge for me, and I'm glad I got through it and get opportunity to meet different people and do different things, so I kind of like it.
I think the reason I became a police officer, like I said, I grew up in the inner city on the north side of Milwaukee, and I saw a lot of things I didn't like. Also, being a female, it was big to me to show other little girls that they can be tough and have kind of like more of a male-dominant job. So that was kind of a big thing in me. I have nieces, and a lot of times as girls we're taught that we have to work office jobs, or be nurses or doctors, but I just wanted my community to see, you know, something positive, the north side and, you know, little girls.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, one day, I became an officer because one day I knew I'd be up here in front of you guys talking to you. I wanted to become an officer. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. No, I became an officer because I wanted to make changes in the neighborhood, in the community. I grew up here, I seen things happen. I wasn't fond of the police growing up, and I'd get in trouble here and there, but decided if you want to do the talk and walk the walk, you might as well make a difference. So I tried out, and here I am. Very happy doing what I'm doing, and I want to continue doing what I do and hopefully move up the ladder and try to help others as well. Amen.
Well, it looks like I should have went first, but I skipped over. The reason why I want to become a cop, I guess you can say, it started when I was young, as a kid, the age of 12, I would say so. Just seeing like police officers doing great work, arresting people, arresting bad guys and stuff, and definitely trying to make a difference in the community. So I actually want to take that route. So in order for me to do that, obviously graduate from South Division. I plan from goals, joining the military, and actually apply. Well, before I joined the department, I want to apply myself with experience so that I can go. The moment I become a police officer, that is when I'm pretty much more ready. So set of goals that pretty much allow me to actually get here. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm here.
Awesome. Stay with me for a second. What were some of the things as far as feedback from family before you became an officer? Were individuals like, are you crazy? Why are you doing that? It's dangerous. Or with all the racial tension, I know back then it wasn't as bad as it is now. What was the feedback, or was there good support from family?
I would say it will be the same response from my parents when I joined the military. They think that was crazy, risking my life just to serve my country. But when time progressed, they actually were very proud because I'm like their first generation of joining the military and now actually serving a police officer. So when I became a police officer, they were very proud. They were saying that that I'm making a better community, especially in the Hmong community, building bridges with them. It's a good repetition of having this position. I think the majority of my community were very proud.
So was it? Yeah, just the support of the family. Did you have the support? Did they think you were crazy for doing this? Or, man, we commend you.
So when I came back from the military, it wasn't, it's like we weren't prepared too well to kind of come back to transition to normal life. So for my family, they were just happy that I was pursuing a career because they're like, if he's going to be out here and get in trouble or not really get into, a career path, then do this. So my mom was very supportive. My dad was also very supportive. To this day, my mom's very proud. And it's been the general influence within my family.
Is there anyone on the panel that felt like you had some support, but then you also had some individuals against you? Were those family, friends, those in the community?
So my parents were very supportive. I had aunts, uncles, and cousins who weren't. I had friends who weren't. I did lose a lot of friends just because they were like, why? They didn't understand. It took them many years to actually accept it and then come reaching out to me. But at first they just didn't understand why I was doing it. It wasn't enough for them why I wanted to do it.
I think it's funny that when we decide to get into a career, that whether we get the support from you or not, this is something that, just like a calling of a priest or a pastor, that's a calling. This, a lot of people don't realize, I know Pastor Marty, myself, many of us, we believe this is a calling, okay? It takes a special person to do this, put their lives on the line, but I'm not trying to be funny in the sense, but thank you for your support, thank you not for your support, this is what I'm going to do anyway. Great, so I'm just wondering.
For me, my family was, my mother and my brothers, they're like very supportive. I'm the only girl in my family, so I think it took them by shock, but they were overall supportive. I think I kind of had a different circumstance, only being on a 1.5 years. I went to the academy during the civil unrest, so I had minimum support from, I think, like my community, growing up as obviously a Black woman. It was weird because you had some people that commended me for what I did, and then some people who kind of saw me as what some people call a sellout. So I don't.
If you don't mind me asking, you're exactly what I was trying to describe, being right in the middle of support, and what then drives a person, wow, that's messed up, well, that's nice, but where did you find your motivation to, I'm going to do this no matter what?
For me, I'm really big on, if you see something that you don't like, get in there and change it. We have a lot of people who say, oh, I hate police and I hate what they're about, but they don't do anything to change it. So if you really feel that way, get out there, do something about it. And this is my community, why would I not want to, why would you not want a police officer that looks like you or relates to you to police you?
Wow, thank you so much. Did you answer that, Nicole? Is there support obviously don't have support here.
I don't have support from my partner at all. Actually, like I mentioned before, that I used to get in trouble with the police. So when I decided to do my career change from nonprofit to police officer, even myself, everyone was shocked when they heard that Ellie was a cop. They're like, how? Like, everyone was in shock. Not that they didn't support it, but they were in shock because of the contact that I had with police when I was younger. So they're like, wow. They were impressed and proud, but again, shocked. That's the biggest word I got.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I see you one day working for a nonprofit, the next day he's in a uniform, and I'm like, where'd you steal that from? Like, I freaked out, okay?
So I used to work with Ray, it was part of the nonprofit organization. Basically, I used to help kids get jobs. So I went from that to becoming a police officer.
But you could have told somebody. Was anyone else surprised? Did you know him before he became an officer? No? Okay. Oh, they love you. You love them all. All right, we're going to arrest someone. When you think about those duties, you've been trained. I did a very short 6-week course with the officers, the police, the Citizens Academy. That was just a little taste, and that was enough. I'll be honest with you, I was the only Latino. There were a couple Caucasians. The majority were African American that took the police academy class with me. The African Americans, the majority of them, in session number 1 out of the 6, or it might have been more, their perspective was changed in session number 1. They had questions, they had attitudes, and everything changed in session number 1. I don't know if that's going to come back, that program. I pray it does. I want to promote that. It totally helped me really understand that these are human beings. These are individuals that are family members, have children in our community. With that said, how is that, being a family person, being, I want to say, because you are a human being, but sometimes we forget that. The community, we see them as this, but we forget that when I hang out and I go watch boxing with some of them, hang out, dinners, our families get together, these are human beings. How is that to differentiate that, or is that not a thing? Like, I'm a human being here, here, and here. Or is it hard, like, oh, time to put the uniform on? I know that was a lot. I guess what I'm saying is, do you have to take this hat off when I go home, or am I still the same person?
For myself, I do my best to leave the job at work, and then when I go home, I'm Ellie. I'm Ellie all around, but then I don't want to talk about the job at home unless they ask questions about it.
And why is that?
Well, one of the main concerns was not to scare them, experience, tell them what we went through, because a lot won't understand. If you tell them that I went to this major incident and you describe everything because that's how you saw it, and you tell them, they're in shock, like, well, please don't share that, because a lot of times as an officer, civilians will not see what we see on a daily basis. We're going to see things that most of you will never see in your life unless you see it on TV or on a movie, but we actually have to respond in real time and make quick decisions to help others, secure the scene, and a lot of adrenaline goes on. So then when all that is done, we have to come back down and then do our best to figure out how we can do that, whether it be spending time with the family, side hobbies, sports, reading, sleeping, whatever the case is, in order for us to come back down and try to have what we call a normal life.
Can you answer that as well? Yes, please.
I think for me, it's kind of easy. Sometimes it's easy to separate the two. Like you said, all around, I'm Imani all day. Like, my big goofy personality at work and off work. Obviously, do it different at work and off work. But I think for me, it's just not taking like the traumatic stuff home, trying to leave that here, taking home emotions run rampant, and it's hard to live a normal lifestyle. Obviously, if my friends, ask anything about the job, as honest with them as I can be, but overall, I just try not to even think about work when I'm at home.
Did it take a while for that balance to occur?
So for me, not really. Right out of high school, I was in public service. So right out of high school, I was a EMT. I worked in a trauma center at a hospital. So I learned those skills really, really early on. But I know for some people that have never done anything like this before, it would probably be difficult.
Who wants to answer?
Well, for me, it's kind of like hard. The reason is because I have older children. And of course, they see something on the news or I just happen to know the person that did this. Why did the police do this? So sometimes just putting my head away, per se, in regards to my job and family, sometimes I gotta tell my kids, well, it's not what it is, without trying to really telling them what's really going on. Like the same reasons why I don't want to scare them. And, but it's also hard for me because when they're out with their friends, I'm worried. So my police thoughts and like, oh my God, I hope they're not driving too fast, or I hope they're okay. So of course I follow them in that app 360, try to keep track on where are they, why did you leave, where are you going? Because it's crazy. Like, to me, personally, is a little too much. That's why I work out. My anxiety goes off the roof.
You brought up a very interesting point. Not sure if you caught this. She reversed it. She knows what she sees. They see gruesome, rough things. But now I got kids that are out there. Now that's a whole, I know some of us have smaller children. I know your children are still my age. But when they get older and they're out, no, you're going to tell me where you're at. Can't be here. You got to be careful with this or that. She flipped that. You understand that? So now the humanity kicks in. So thank you for bringing that up. You messed me up now. Okay. Oh, you have small children. When they get older, is that something that might concern you, depending where they go, or are they going to stay at your house forever?
No, that's not going to happen. No, but to be honest, ever since obviously all the issues that have come up in the country with involving law enforcement, my daughter, my oldest, is very close to me, so she's always saying, I want to be a cop, and and now my son, he loves Paw Patrol and he loves Chase, and everything is a cop thing, and he walks around in a cop hat. And part of me, like, it was back in the day, I feel like you were more supportive of it.
That's right.
I know that in high school, you're really taught to be either EMT, firefighter, police officer. In any high school you went to, it was like the one thing, and it was super cool to do it. And now it's just like, part of me, from my experience, and obviously from everything that's happening outside of my home, you kind of feel that this tugging and pulling on, like, do I support this? Do I drive it? Like, and at the end of the day, you still try to instill that this is a good profession, that you support them in whatever God's leading them to do. And that's kind of how I view that with my children.
Okay. Can you get the mic back here? Just, I want to get your perspective as far as putting on the hat, taking it off, or do you leave it on the whole time? I'm an officer again in my regular clothes, I will arrest.
No, once I walk out that door, I am no longer an officer. I mean, we're officers 24 hours, but I am in my regular clothes, going home, jumping into bed. I work 12 to 8, so I see most activities at 12 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Gotcha.
12 is past my bedtime. But no, it's once 8 o'clock hits, I am me, and I try not to scare my parents. We don't really talk about my job too much unless they have questions. I don't have children, so I don't have to worry about that, but the day that I do, I'm sure that I will.
That's right. Did you want to answer that last question? I just feel like that's kind of important as far as how do you balance that? And I can take a question.
Pretty much for me, what works out is gotta find that balance. What works for me is I actually like talking about my job. You know, if somebody comes up and just start asking questions, I'll be there. I like we've been chatting for like hours. If they had questions regarding about my job, I'd be more willing to answer to the best of my knowledge. The way that I balance with my family, I tend to be a little bit vague, and also sometimes maybe go into details depending on the certain situation. It just once you get a family and a supportive that you have, you're able to actually, instead of keeping those terrible things that we police officers are actually seeing, keeping it inside, it's not going to do us any good. We got to relieve that out as well. So that's what works for me. Long drive, listen to music and shower. So.
Awesome. I'm glad you showered. What do you believe are the biggest challenges facing the Milwaukee Police Department? And how do you stay motivated to do your job beyond these challenges? And be for real. I know you. Okay. So what are the biggest challenges facing the Milwaukee Police Department? How do you stay motivated to do your job?
So currently right now I'm with the proactive units. It's called the anti-gang unit. What we do is what we're primarily looking for is subject wanted, people that are committing felony crimes, serious crimes. Not only that, drugs, also gang unit as well too. So what really challenged us is, I would say more political wise, and also, let's just stick with that. Political wise, people do have their opinions about policing as well. But what motivates me to continue to do this is actually serving you guys, especially with you guys that are actually want to make this community safer, and actually wants to actually improve even better. So that's what motivates me, is you guys that are backing us up and actually supporting us. So that's what really motivates me, and hopefully can accomplish those for you guys and make this community much more safer.
Thank you. Officer Wells, before you answer that, I just want to remind you, I don't know if you caught the pattern. I'm doing this for you. You're doing it for me. Safety for you, the family, my family. I don't know if you caught, if you leave with anything tonight, at least because I was wondering, what am I going to get out of this tonight? You're here for me. Okay, that's the part that I believe. I'm not afraid to get political, but that's the part that's not reported on the news. Okay? All of them said, I'm here for you. Safety, my family, for you. Better place for you, so you can enjoy. For you. I don't know if you caught that. If not, I'll repeat it again. For you, for me, okay.
Something that, as you can see from a lot of us, that most people don't realize is that a lot of times people feel that people come from the outside to become law enforcement officer in the city of Milwaukee, and that they come and get a paycheck and then they go back into suburban neighborhoods. As you can see today, all of us are from Milwaukee. We went to MPS schools, and we live in this community or grew up in the community, and then obviously live in different places. So this is, for us, this is personal. I mean, there is a part of us that wants to help and have your children live in a better community, because whether you live outside of Milwaukee, you still have to come within the city, and you have family that live within the city. So you want it to be safe for not just your family, but obviously for you guys. One thing that I feel that helps with some of those challenges, and Raymond is kind of one of my best friends, and he helped me a lot in the military to get to where I'm today. It's just my faith and helping out in the community through my church. I feel that working through my church with people, not only just as an officer, but outside of being an officer, it helps change the hearts of people and how they view things. And you also have certain interactions. And I won't go into too much details to put this person's information out there, but recently I speak Spanish. I got called to go to a house and give a notification of this mom that her son's killer had been arrested. So when I spoke to her, she wanted to share her story. I just was there to notify her, and she wanted to share everything that happened. I didn't say, hey ma'am, I gotta leave. Sorry you can't share that with me. So I got to share not only just obviously caring for her and her situation, but I noticed her communicating to me that she was a woman of faith. So then I was able to share some of that with her, and I even invited her to my church. And surprisingly, that same Sunday, she did go to my church with her entire family. And she ended up going up front, and she was crying with our pastors and everything. Our pastors blessed her family, and she even invited our pastor to go to her son's funeral and support them. So those were extensions of things that happen within the job that kind of go outside that most people don't see, but it's actually, it's meaningful in many ways.
Now, he just took us there with an emotional story of how they really care, okay? I've had youth come to my center because an officer said, go to UCC and talk to Raymond. He'll help you out. And we were able to help out a few youth, quite a few youth, I should say, okay? So it's not just, hey, we arrest you, don't be good. No, there's tons of resources. In fact, back in the day, when the police academy, they would do on a bus, I think they still do this, they go to many nonprofits all over, finding out where all the resources are. So you got that issue? Go to Raymond. Oh, you got this issue? You got to go to Pastor Marty. Oh, you got that issue? There's a lot of this. Okay, so that's really beautiful. I'd like to take a question. Officer Clifford? Is that okay? See, that's the thing with them. 1 second they're smiling, 1 second they're not. So I'm like, is he going to arrest me or is he going to smile? Man. Yep, sounds good. All right. Sounds good. What can the community, I've been dying to ask this question. That was on page 2, you're going to get that. What can the community do to support you as an officer? Wow. What can we do? Do y'all like fried chicken? More crispy donuts? Krispy Kreme? Dunkin'? What can we do?
Wow, can you get a warm-up question?
So what can we, you want to take that?
Sure.
In your own eyes, or?
Honestly, working late shift, we get a lot of support from the community via cameras, via incidents, anything happens, any little noise. I mean, I feel like just continuing that communication, calling in those calls, do not feel like you guys are bothering us. Instead, you guys are actually helping us. We're getting there faster. We're already knowing what we're looking for because you guys are giving out great descriptions. So communication is key, and I think that we're there, but I think it's going to get even better.
Awesome. Somebody else? What can the community do to support you as an officer?
From what I'm thinking or what I see, I work from 4 p.m. 4 to midnight. And like my partner said, more communication. Also, if you don't call us, we don't know what's going on. So we really, especially in our Hispanic community, We really need you guys to call us. Let us know where you're not wasting our time. We're here for you no matter what. It could be the biggest problem to the smallest problem. My neighbor is making too much noise or, something major. Just make sure you keep the communication with us because we don't know that never happened. And be patient. Our department is very, very small. So it's only a handful of us working that night. So if we don't get to you right away, it's only because something higher or more priority of a call came in. Not that I'm saying that your call is not important. We will get to you. It's just going to take a little longer. Just a little patience will be nice.
Awesome. I'm going to give you an example. I'm in this district and my neighbors next door were partying. They were super, super loud. I lived upstairs, my mother downstairs in a duplex, and I called. And they were very, very busy that night. What was crazy, about an hour and a half to 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the district. Hey, do you still need to come out there? What's it? I said, officer, thank you so much for calling. Believe it or not, they fell asleep. It's all calm, but thank you, we're good. They called me back, okay? So again, I understood the priority, okay? So keep that in mind, that patience, that's powerful. Anybody else, what can we do to support you? Rice and beans, or whichever?
I think District 2 does an amazing job of supporting us, like the community. I always feel like loved, like we can go to any business and they support us and are mean to us, so that's great. Obviously what my partner said is like 100% right, communication, patience, but I will also add to like patience and a different aspect. Try to just remember that your fellow police officers are human. Like we do have feelings, some of the things that we go through could affect us. So just try to be just more patient. We care, we're trying. I can vouch for every one of these officers up here. When you think that if you think that we don't care, we 100% do. This is the community that we live in. So just try to be a little patient.
Okay, I want to get this question. We have a few minutes left. Gun violence and gun-related homicides in our community is at an all-time high. Do you believe the police can play a role with this issue before the violence occurs? If so, how? And I might add something to that question. How can we assist with this? Because I do believe there's a way that we can assist in that. So, do you believe the police can play a role with this issue before the violence occurs?
Yes, we can play a role in helping with what's going on. That's why we have the CLOs in each district. Our job is to community liaison officer. Sorry about that. So that's why we're out here trying to provide resources, trying to educate the residents, and at the same time educate ourselves on how we can help each other. There's so many ways that we can report things. A lot of times people are scared to report things because of retaliation, but we have different ways that you can let us know what's going on. And just being out there, when we communicate with residents, once they get comfortable with us, they provide information for us. So there is ways, but we can't do it all by ourselves. We need the community leaders, we need the residents to step up and report things, because if they don't, we don't know what's going on. And there's so many of us, and there's so many calls that come in that we have to, like Officer Nelson was saying, that we have to take one call at a time, but we will get to it. But when people start to communicate with us, provide information, we can reduce a lot of these incidents that are happening in the city of Milwaukee. But when people follow the street rules, snitches get stitches, then it's really hard to do our job, because we're not going to find the individual that's involved in some of these incidents, because nobody wants to speak because of retaliation or because they don't want to be considered a snitch.
I'm a proud snitch, and my definition is just a truth telling. That's the real definition, and I'm still alive. If I die and y'all come to my funeral, Somebody better put a sign, proud snitch, right? Right. I have exactly 1 minute left. What I love about these meetings, I was coming to these meetings years ago when they would go past the hour, hour and a half, 1:45, and I was a part of the time that an hour, it's over with, you want to mingle afterwards, ask some questions, you can still do that. Last question, if somebody wants to grab it, what does it do for you? I know you shared, man, there's a lot of love here. People came here to hang out, support, or the tamales, that's why I came. But what does this do for you? Like knowing that, man, you guys got some people that really care, love you, want to support you. What does that do for you? I saw a smile on your face. You go first.
Well, I like this. Not only do I get to meet people, but know the fact that the community is here for us. We can work together. Now, so you kind of make me, feel like I'm doing my job, or give me more pointers in regards to how I can help you, or you help me help you. I really appreciate it. This is how you get to meet more people and become with the community. So I really appreciate this. Thank you.
One thing,
it's not over in 10 seconds.
One thing that comes to mind, to be honest, is this rings so true, is that everyone always speaks for us. Everyone has an opinion on how we should do things, or how we feel, how cops are, and so these are great opportunities so that people can really know who we are, and obviously everything within the scope, obviously, of our positions and everything, but just so that people can see our hearts and how we feel and how we think. It's usually something happens on the news and now we're all painted with that same brush, when, that guy is not me and I'm not her or him, you know what I mean? So I think it's really cool to have these encounters, and then obviously create trust. People can feel like, okay, that guy went to my school, or she's from my neighborhood, or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you. One secret, I used to get together with the old Captain Negron from 2nd District back in the day. We were doing a pilot thing with inner city kids. If you ever get stopped at nighttime by an officer, turn on your dome lights, put the windows down, put your hands on the steering wheel, and talk nice. And I'll bet, that's from the North. Sorry, I grew up in the North. That officer, I was with my whole family. This happened. I was heading south by Famous Dave's, and I freaked out. I made a left turn in the center lane instead of the far left. Why are they always right there? I'm like, man, I just made a turn. Anyway, he came, I did that, I was respectful, and hey, enjoy your family and have a nice day, just be a little more careful. And I said, thank you very much, officer. The lesson, it wasn't about me paying the ticket. I got money, I can pay the ticket. No, but the lesson was for my children of the interaction that I had with the officers. These are community members. So, I just wanted to say that. Captain, you want to close this out here?
Actually, he's got a couple questions.
Couple questions?
Okay, so there's a couple questions that just come from online. All right, so there's a couple questions that I can figure I can answer. I'm Officer Sean, I'm from the Office of Community Outreach and Education out of the Academy, so I'm in charge of a lot of the training as well as recruiting for our department. So there's a couple questions that I think I can answer. One of the questions was, what is the age requirement to become a police officer? It's the age of 21. You'd be sworn as a law enforcement officer at the age of 21. However, you can actually apply for the police department at the age of 20. Okay, but by your appointment, you have to be 21.
There's the police aid program?
Police aid program is on freeze right now.
Is it?
Yes, for right now.
Well, winter's almost over. Will the freeze?
That's a good question. One of the other questions is what does training look like? Milwaukee police officers, when they get assigned to the recruit academy, they have to go through 720 hours of law enforcement training. That's 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. They get various state standard curriculum given to them. And one of the other follow-up questions is their test. There's tests throughout the training. They're now broken down into phases. They kind of got away from the old ways where you pass a class, you test on it, and you forget the material. Now they actually have phase tests, and it's kind of like every 3 months or so. With all the information they learn in that process, they have to retain it and actually take a state level test. So it's not even MPD's test. So all our positions here in the Milwaukee Police Department are full-time. We don't have any part-time positions. But we do have different levels. Besides that, we have CSOs and hopefully the police aide again eventually. And another question, what support systems is offered by the Milwaukee Police Department for individual officers to cope with or deal with stuff? We have post, we have 2 clinicians, plus they also have their interns as well, so we have paid clinicians that any officer can go out to and talk to. And a clinician is privileged. If anybody knows what I mean by that, by privilege, they don't have to discuss anything that officer is going with our department. So it's very confidential. So they're paid by the department, but however, it's confidential. So anybody can go speak with them at any time. They're stationed right out at the academy. And George Papa Crystal, we have our chaplaincy. We have a couple chaplains, and I know they've put on 3, 4 more, I think, within the last couple. And some of them are former law enforcement, so it does help out with some of the traumas that we do face.
And then here on the south side, we also work with a group of chaplains that come up to some of our more violent events.
And we're still hiring.
We're still hiring.
So again, on behalf of the community, 2nd District, Police Department, I personally want to thank you. I'm so honored to have been asked to do this. Anytime, I would love to do this in the future for more tamales. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. You guys, thank everybody. Great officers, and see you've got all of 13 or 14 years, all the way down to like just over a year on the job. So these guys are great. They have some great answers I thought tonight, and thank you all for coming. Maria, thank you for coming. And Pastor Marty, I think might have left, but for God Touch, thank you guys for hosting this. The last 3 months have been really, really good.
Amen.
We're looking forward to coming back here.
One last thing. Guys, if Pastor Marty was here, he's not, I want to close this in prayer. Is that okay?
Amen.
Okay. If any atheists in the house, y'all can leave right now. No, just, believe it or not, I have atheist friends, and they're wonderful individuals. Seriously. Let's pray. Dear Father God, I want to thank you so much. This is the true definition of community. I pray for you. You pray for me. I encourage you. You encourage me. Father God, bless and protect them. I know my wife and my 3 children, every single night before we go to bed, these officers are in our prayers. We do not miss a night. Hallelujah. Bless them, protect them, their families, their children, and may they always know that not only are you there for them, Lord, first, and secondly, we have their backs as well. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
The officers are going to be here for a little while, just kind of mingling around. If you guys have questions you want to ask them personally, go ahead. We got one more question.
Yeah, bro.